Hi everybody and welcome back to Borderline. So today I've looked at some of the comments that we've had over the last 24 hours to some of the videos that we've had to do with housing and the north-south divide, that some people say that there is, some people deny that there is. Okay, so we've taken a look at that and a few people said, wow, I'm selling my house in the south of England. I'm going to move to the north of England. Okay, I'm not going to have to worry about a mortgage as soon as I sell my house in the south. Okay, I can go and buy a property in the north. These people, you know, you're looking at East Midlands, South Yorkshire. Okay, and they're going to be mortgage free. And then you've got other people complaining, saying, yeah, but you're doing it on an average across the actual whole of the north of England, what wages are. Okay, rather than looking at specific jobs. So what we've done is taken a look at some of the most common jobs that are advertised according to Indeed. Okay, so this is based on them. Okay, in the whole of north of England, and compared to salary that you should expect that if you're in the north of England compared to what it is in the south of England. Now, what you've got to take into account when we do this, you're bringing London into it. So the wages for the south of England are going to be inflated because of London, because you're going to be earning so much more easily because of the wages of London. Okay, so I've got 11 sectors, and the north of England, only one of those, I was actually surprised because I thought it'd be none of them. Okay, only one sector earns more than in the south of England. So if, for example, if you go and compare a nurse in the north of England compared to in the south, and it does slightly vary whether you're straight up in the north of England like Yorkshire, or if you're over in the northeast, you know, like Northumberland or Tynemwear, okay, somewhere like that, compared to where if you're in the northwest, where you're looking at like Lancashire, Merseyside, Greater Manchester and Cheshire, especially Cheshire. Okay, over in the northwest you turn to earn more money than you are going to in the northeast. Okay, so what's the average wage? So for a qualified nurse, this is a qualified nurse. Okay, the average wage, okay, is 32,500 to 35 grand. Okay, so that's the average. Not once you've just trained, because I think the average the wage for a qualified nurse just once they've trained is about 27.5 grand, but the average wage. Now, if you come down to the south of England, okay, that wage changes to about 37,000 to 42,000. So the south of England is up by about 4 grand. If you go into the retail sector and you're a shop worker, you know, it's probably one of the most common jobs up and down the country. Okay, retail, the south of England wins this again by approximately £4,000, because the average wage in the north of England is 25 grand compared to in the south it's 29,000. Okay, builders, nothing in it, basically about the same whether in the north of England or you're in the south of England. Okay, you're looking at between 30 to 49,000 pounds a year. Now, here's the interesting one. Now, this surprised me. Lorry drivers, so HGV drivers. Okay, in the north of England, you're looking at about 28 grand on average, depending on what company you're with at the end of the day. Come down south, you're going to get a £10,000 a year hike. Can you believe that? 10 grand. Okay, you are on an average of £38,000. Okay. Now, this is one of the most popular jobs which is advertised on Indeed at the moment, believe it or not. Cleaners. Okay, we all need cleaners, you know, whether it's going into businesses, helping the elderly, whatever. Everybody needs cleaners at the end of the day. They might be able to teach my wife a thing or two. Okay, now there's nothing in this. North, south, doesn't matter. The average wage, no, this is going to go up because obviously the minimum wage is due to go up very soon. Okay, so they're going to be below the minimum wage. So it looks like cleaners are in for a pay rise. Average wage, north or south, £12.18. This is based on figures for the last calendar year. Okay, now we come to the nursery workers. Okay, now I know nursery workers are actually on more than this. Okay, so in the north of England, 19 grand. South of England, 24. Okay, so you're looking at a £5,000 a year pay difference just on location. I'm going to do three more, so it includes the north of England. Lawyers, up north 43 grand, down south 56,000, £13,000 pay increase for living in the south. Delivery drivers, north of England 26.5 grand, south of England 27 grand. Not a lot in it, to be honest. There's next to nothing in it. Now, this is the one. This is where I got surprised because I wasn't expecting anything to come up trumps for the north of England on the pay scale because everybody complains about the north-south divide. I hear it all the time. I've got family in the north of England. My wife's got a lot of family in the north of England. Data analysts. Average wage in the north, £40,000 to £60,000. In the south, you're looking at £30,000 to £40,000 on average. Okay. Now, we do have accountants and mechanics on here as well. For accountants, they win by about 3 grand in the south, and mechanics are on an extra 6 grand as well. So, what can we learn from this? The reality is, it pays more money to live in the south of England. Okay, so whatever job you're doing, you're going to earn more money as a general rule in the south of England. But property prices are higher, which means probably council tax is probably higher as well. I haven't actually checked it, but I'm making an assumption and a guess. So that's probably higher. Now, what people have said to me in comments is, I can go and sell my house, even though I've got this big salary. So it's especially valid for people that are coming up to retirement. And if you take as an example, I've got a person that's messaged me this morning, I think it's this morning, okay, and basically said, I live in Gosport. I'm going to look at selling my house. Now, for those that don't know, the average house price in Gosport is only about 2 miles from here. Okay, I used to live in Gosport. It's approximately £250,000. You look at about £260,000 for a 3-bedroom house. And they're saying, I don't want to live here with these. I might as well cash in, sell my house. I've gone to Mansfield. I've never personally been to Mansfield before. Don't know what it's like. Might be a lovely place, might be a horrible place. I don't know. I haven't insulted anybody from Mansfield. Okay. But they're looking to move to Mansfield. Okay. And guess what? House price, can go and buy a 3-bedroom house, £150,000. For that, so that 100 grand in profit, they're going to pay off their mortgage if they haven't already paid it off. I don't actually know how old they are or anything. Okay. And they're going to have a lot of money in the bank. I've got another person said, we did it in 2003. We were living in Herefordshire, sold our house, moved to Sheffield, so South Yorkshire. Okay, I don't actually know what house prices are like in Sheffield, to be honest. I know what they're like in Leeds. I mean, not Leeds, Bradford. Okay. Sold our house, paid off our mortgage, bought a house for cash, and we were quids in. So the real argument is, if you are coming to retirement, you are actually better off sailing up in the south of England and moving up north, because you're basically set up for your retirement. You're going to have a lot of money. So if you own your own home in the south of England, you are better off moving to the north. Now, if you've got a young family, it depends on the way that you actually personally look at it, because there is a north-south divide, whether you want to admit to it or not. There is, in some aspects, because you are going to earn more money for your job as a general rule, but you're also going to take the extra expenses in the way of council tax, house prices if you're buying, and rental prices. Okay, those three, if you take it, so if you're willing to pay the extra, okay, then obviously you're going to get the extra. But when you take it into account, is it actually worth it? You know, and that's the argument that every family up and down the country would actually have to put and try and work it out for themselves. Is it actually worth living in the south of England? You know, because some people have said to me, yeah, but you've wrecked the south of England. Thanks, I don't think I personally wrecked it. So it's a hard one to judge whether it is actually worth living in the south of England, because the only reason the south of England is expensive is because we've got the most expensive city in the whole of Europe and one of the most expensive cities in the entire world on our doorstep in London. And that's what does it. You know, because it's like I've said to people, when I used to work in home improvements, I used to work in double glazing, and I used to work for a company, I used to work for home improvements, and I worked out of our Parley branch, which is up in, just to the west of here, in Bournemouth. I worked out of Portsmouth, I worked out of Southampton, and I worked out of Kingston upon Thames. Okay, and whenever I went to London, we automatically put 10% on the price, just because we were going to London. If we were selling double glazing, conservatories, whatever it is, 10% whacked on straight onto the price tag. And that is the fundamental thing, because they earn more money there. And that's what affects the south of England's prices. Okay, so for those people that complain saying I've just gone for a broad spectrum average, just look at them. They're the most popular jobs that are being advertised at the end of the day. Okay, and you're still looking realistically at those kind of wages. You are up around the early £30,000 figures if you take all of those, and those are the most common jobs being advertised. So I hope that helps everybody a little bit. Okay, it is hard for me to say if you are better off being in the south than the north. I personally think you're actually better off being in the north than the south if you can do it. But for now, thanks for listening. Obviously, if you've got any questions or anything you want to say, just drop them in the comments down below. But for now, thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you again a bit later.